Hey gang, I'm here with another episode of the Power of Nine podcast. We are coming from the Maple House in Excelsior live with Ryan Turbes. He's one of the youngest general partners at Boulay, an accounting and finance firm here in the Twin Cities. And frankly, we became buddies a while ago. A lot can happen when you're in a fishing boat for a full day stuck in Canada. So I want to welcome to the show Ryan Turbes.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, Aaron. And I'm sorry you had to spend a whole day with me in a boat in Canada.
And I love doing these shows with, it's so weird kind of, right? Like, because we got these microphones in front of us, stuff like that. We could probably just bullshit for
Absolutely.
hours, right?
Yeah.
So, but I got to tell you, man, like I've been wanting to have you on the show. And you know, your reputation precedes yourself. Everyone knows Turbo.
Turbo, yeah, absolutely.
From this point forward, I do not call him. It's so weird for me to say Ryan. Like it just.
It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounds kind of dumb. So I just would prefer to say Turbo.
Perfect.
So everyone knows Turbo now. So you know, a big part of the show is I just want to talk a little bit about your journey and you're a younger guy, so it's going to go kind of quick on the front end, and then we're going to get to the stuff that you kind of do too. The other thing I want to make sure and acknowledge is Boulay, and because of you, you're a big community supporter as well. You're in C9er. So I want to talk about what you do at Boulay and what Boulay does as well. So we do ads as part of this. I'm going to skip out on the Boulay ad for this one because it's recorded in my voice, and frankly, I just want you to be able to do it. So we'll put a little bit of plug in there for Boulay, but at the end of the day, this is your show. So let's dig in. Where'd you grow up?
Grew up in New Ulm, Minnesota, about 2 hours southwest of the Twin Cities.
Yeah.
Grew up in the country.
Yeah.
So farm boy at heart.
Yeah. So did you grow up on a farm?
Did not grow up on a farm. Grew up on a wooded acres. So we had about 100 acres property. About 12 of that was tillable that we rented out, but then helping friends and neighbors with milking cows and bean walking and baling hay, the character building, which honestly, you know, you look back on it and say that shaped a lot of work habits and who I am today.
Yeah.
At that time was not as thankful, but I am now.
I can't believe how many people that I think I said this a couple episodes ago. We have so many people in here from farm country. So it's shocking to me how many come from like even Iowa and stuff like that. But being from rural Minnesota, the work ethic correlation, and then the term bean walking. And I live in farm country now, and I don't know if that was because, you know, I've only been out there 10 years and I've been at an arm's length from farm country when I was a kid, so I didn't really do a lot of those things. But that to me sounds like it's one of the most like annoying jobs on the farm.
It kind of is. And we live next to neighbors, right? Neighbors in country terms is about 2 miles away.
Yeah.
But he had an organic farm, so he couldn't spray. So we had to walk, but it was fine. You got paid in cash, and at the end of the day, you always got a really good meal.
Yeah.
And you can, converse with people as you're doing it. It's fine. I wasn't doing it every day. You get a nice suntan. So as a teenager, I mean, what other things do you have to do?
Right. So then if your parents weren't farmers, what did your parents do?
So my mom went to Mankato State for teaching. She taught for a little bit until she met my dad. My dad is and still was and still is an entrepreneur. So he owned, starting with one gas station. He walked, he says, uphill both ways to this gas station, working for this guy since he was like 7 or 8, getting paid and popping a candy bar. And then over time, Florian Schnobrick was his name.
What was his name?
Florian Schnobrick.
Love that name.
Just a German New Ulm name through and through.
New Ulm to the core.
For sure.
Yeah, dude.
So my dad, went to school in Mankato, Votech, to be a mechanic.
Yep.
And then, coming out of there, started to work again for Florian and then bought him out. That was his first entrepreneur venture. Started as a mechanic shop and a gas station. Then from there, over time, it expanded into a seed business with Pioneer, bulk petroleum and oils, servicing, the sweet corn pickers and Seneca and other farmers in the area. Then buying other gas stations or building other gas stations in the New Ulm, central Minnesota area. And then over time, successfully exiting those and eventually now working for a United Farmers Co-op based out of Winthrop.
Yeah. So that entrepreneurial spirit did that rub off on you like at an because I think how many siblings do you have in your family?
I have 2 other siblings. I'm the oldest of 3, so my sister's a year younger and my brother's 4 years younger than I am.
So did some of that so 2-part question. Did that rub off on you? And I kind of know where you're going with that, but did that rub off on your whole family, your other siblings?
I would say it's interesting. I'd say it rubbed off on me more than my sister or my brother. Mm-hmm. My brother more so than my sister, but probably because I was the oldest son, I went with Dad everywhere, and I saw all the things that he was involved in and how he communicated with people, how he took care of people, how he did things the right way. I hated it at the time, though. My goodness, like doing all these extra things and taking it all the way there versus, doing it 50% of the way there. Yeah. You look back and say that really made me who I am today.
Yeah, we always talk about nature versus nurture on this podcast, and you and I have specifically talked about that just in general. But do you feel like that's like, are you 50-50? Are you, where is that? I look at the risk taker in your dad being, starting out with the gas station and then just kind of blowing it up from there. And then I look at you being, a partner at a CPA firm. And I think there's a misnomer around what a risk taker is, but then what a really good CPA partner is. Like, dig into that.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. The stereotype of, well, you're an accountant. I've had a lot of people, even when I was growing up in college and then thereafter, say, well, Turbo, there's no way you're an accountant. You're not the typical accountant. And yeah, absolutely, I'm not your typical accountant. I'm very entrepreneurial at heart. Just because I'm an accountant, that doesn't mean I'm conservative in nature.
Yeah.
I maybe lean a little bit more conservative. I'm not maybe as risky as you are, Aaron. You're all in on the entrepreneur side of things. But I absolutely am willing to understand the risks and be willing to take those risks when necessary.
What was your jam in high school? What were I get a vibe that you probably are all sports.
Yes, hockey, baseball, football. And then I played when I could intramural basketball with friends when I had time between sports or what have you. But very active in school activities. I think it was student council and all of these things. Absolutely loved and still to this day love to get involved in many things. Sometimes too many, which is a fault of a lot of us, I think.
How many kids did you graduate with?
I graduated with 68 from New Ulm Cathedral. It's the largest class in a number of years, and now I think they're down to like 20s or 30s, as most small towns are. Enrollment is reducing, which farms are reducing, and you talk about the upbringing of the farm culture. That's a concern that I have because I think there's a lot of good that comes out of that.
Oh, I totally think so too, and I see it where I live, right? Like, it's just fewer and fewer people are getting into farming. I will say, though, that there's a lot of younger people that are going to school for something. And so, like, I'll use a couple of my neighbors, for example. They went to go be diesel mechanics. Sure. And so they still go work on the farm. They also have a full-time job, but, they're coming to trap shooting on Wednesday nights covered with grease from head to toe, right? Because they were working on some kind of machinery. And so they're able to take their skill set, and, a diesel mechanic makes pretty good money.
Absolutely.
And then can apply that to the farm. But I just don't know, like, what are going to be future generations of, like, full-time farmers, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's almost getting more corporate, and then you have those individuals that have, like, my sister and brother-in-law. He works for a full-time corporate farmer. They farm thousands of acres, and then he has his acres around their house in the country that they farm more as a hobby per se.
So going back to high school stuff, which sport stuck out the most for you?
I would say that's a great question. I'd say football was my least favorite. Both baseball and hockey. I'd say baseball, to me, the New Ulm baseball culture. We had a really solid group of guys growing up and ended up winning Class A state championship. And there was a lot of great memories and team building experiences. And we failed along the way, but we learned from those. So I think there's a lot of lessons there. Hockey I was probably the best at. But not as many, positive experiences because a Southern Minnesota hockey team is not going to compete with the Metro or Northern Minnesota schools.
Anywhere north, right? Yeah. I kind of like as I've gotten to know you over the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years or whatever, I give you like that athletic mindset. Do you think you still carry that athletic mindset? I think, there's people, we have all these different people that are either entrepreneurs or leaders like you or whatever. And whether they be, entrepreneurial or intrapreneurial, it's funny how sometimes I can pick up on people that have the athletic mindset, and it's a drive that's it's just a little different, right? And I think it is, you said about loss, and I think it's how you manage through loss,
how you learn.
100%, right? Yeah. And so I think, do you think you carry that forward into now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it shaped me who I am, and I'm continually driven. I don't like losing.
Yeah.
And I don't consider it a loss unless I don't learn from it, right?
Yeah.
So it's a learning experience is what it is. And the sports that I played, hockey, baseball, football, very team-orientated sports. So as a business leader, I'm very much a team. Okay, if I make this decision, or if we make this decision, what impact does it have not only on me, my clients, my prospects, but the team?
Yeah.
You're never going to please everybody, and I understand that, but you got to get the majority to buy in order for something to be successful.
Yeah. Amen, brother. What was your why'd you decide to go to St. John's? Like, I look at, so you said your mom went to Mankato State, Minnesota State now or whatever. You have all these schools on the southern side, but was it part of like your family had gone there or something like that, or is it just stuck out to you?
So my mom's brother, Uncle John, he went to St. John's, graduated there in the 90s, but that wasn't a factor in my decision making. Very much an outdoorsman, so I mentioned I grew up on 100 acres, so I was constantly doing hunting, fishing, playing in the woods. And you go up to the St. John's campus, I think it's arguably one of the most beautiful campuses in the Midwest. The lakes, the woods, the hiking, that's what drew me in. There were a few close connections from New Ulm that went to St. John's, so I had real world experience talking with them. But that's ultimately what drew me there is just the aura of campus when you step foot there.
Did you know the impact of, I think also, in addition to the beauty of the campus, the network that comes out of the relationships that are built and how they transcend? I mean, they've done a really good job of making sure and fostering that forward. And then now you being an alumni, continuing to be a part of that, it continues from generation to generation, just being a thing. I don't think there's a school that does a better job of it.
Once a Johnny, always a Johnny.
Right.
I biased opinion here, but I think it's one of the strongest alumni networks in the Midwest. I did not know that. That was not a factor for me deciding, but coming out, especially being in a service provider professional role, my goodness, it's extremely powerful. And if I wear any St. John's gear, like if I'm traveling to Mexico with my family, it seems like I always run into somebody and be like, hey, I'm a Johnny or a Benny in class of this. Nice to meet you. And you small talk with them. It's kind of those Midwestern values that Minnesota nice that comes through no matter where I am.
I think Minnesota kind. Minnesota nice is passive aggressive.
There you go.
So you just went to Mexico with your family. Did you wear some Johnny stuff, and did somebody say something?
I did.
Really?
I did.
Yes. What happened?
I think I was walking down the airplane on the way there, and someone said, "Yep, go Johnny's," and just kind of gave him a nux. As you're getting on an airplane, there's not time to chit chat. But
that's cool.
It always somewhere.
Yeah. Sweet. All right, we're gonna take a quick break here. We're gonna listen to a few of our community supporters. We'll get to you in a little bit, and then when we come back, we're gonna get into your career.
Awesome.
If you're anything like me, you know enough to be dangerous when it comes to finance, yet need some help when things get complicated. All-in-One Accounting provides the right financial expertise and leadership to align with your stage of growth. From outsourced accounting and bookkeeping to strategic financial planning, the team of accounting rockstars at All-in-One Accounting are passionate about positively impacting the businesses and lives of their clients. You need to check them out at allinoneaccounting.com. All-in-One Accounting, taking our clients from financial chaos to business clarity and beyond. If you're an entrepreneur or married to one, your journey is complex. You want financial advice that impacts your whole net worth, including your business, not just stock market investments. You also want a partner that quarterbacks the relationships between the CPA, estate planner, banker, and other trusted advisors. That's where the team at eWealth Partners comes in. We love helping you and your spouse design a financial plan that aligns and empowers you. A plan that addresses your concerns, priorities, and goals tailored to reach your long-term vision. A long-term vision that is worth the pursuit today. Visit ewealthpartners.com to learn how they can help couples like you. eWealth Partners, holistic financial planning for entrepreneurs. Investment advisor services offered through AdvisorNet Wealth Management. eWealth Partners and AdvisorNet Wealth Management are not affiliated. Verseek Search and Consulting is thrilled to support Coalition 9 and this podcast, and we are just as excited to have them as a partner. Verseek is a Minnesota-based, high-performance recruiting firm that specializes in interim solutions, direct hire, and executive leadership search. Their team of experienced professionals and seasoned leaders across various areas of expertise and industries have been in your shoes. They quickly assess your whole company and identify key elements that will take your business to the next level. Your company's success hinges on the capacity of your people, and few areas of your business are more critical than your finance and accounting team. Your company's success hinges on the capacity of your people. Verseek can help connect you with the talented candidates within finance and accounting, along with other areas of expertise in executive search, direct hire, and interim solutions. People are the ultimate business advantage. Find your people together with Verseek and make the best possible for your business. Learn more and contact Verseek by visiting verseek.com and following them on LinkedIn. Regardless if you're a startup just figuring things out or a medium-sized organization with a full team, having a legal partner by your side is crucial. Seiler Law is fiercely loyal to their clients and are passionate about removing headaches and roadblocks that can pop up during the growth of your business. Whether you need general outside counsel, are planning a business transaction, or even need someone to guide you through the estate planning process, the team at Seiler Law are the advocates for you. Visit seilerlaw.com to learn more. Seiler Law, where experience meets pragmatism. The topic of talent is hot in organizations of any size, and I would argue none more than small to mid-sized businesses. That's why it's crucial to have a partner to help you navigate all the HR idiosyncrasies so you can focus on working on your business and not in it. Insperity is a full-service HR partner with a high-touch, high-tech platform helping owners work through challenges like employee retention, company culture, and benefits, just to name a few. Do yourself a favor and explore all they have to offer at insperity.com. Insperity, HR that makes a difference. All right, we're back with Ryan Turbes, Turbo. God, I didn't want to even say that, but I feel like we're on the podcast. I got to get all official here and shit. All right, so let's talk about the career choices that you made. So you were in college. Tell me about, like, because I don't think you originally, I remember the story you telling me about this when we were on the boat. You weren't going to get into accounting.
No, I was going to get into management, because my dad being the entrepreneur, I was like, I'll get into management. I want to be in management. I want to manage people. Mm-hmm. I enjoy that type of experience. So that's what I was going to. And being a private college, you got to get into a number of different things, fine arts and accounting and business and all these things. And took one accounting class and to this day, Boz, Warren Bostrom, very well known in the Twin Cities area. He's not your typical accountant either.
Yeah, sweet.
And he pulled me aside one day after the first class, like maybe halfway through the semester, and said, "Hey, Ryan, I think you're starting to get this. I think you should pursue it." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a freshman at college. Like, this guy is awesome. He's my favorite professor here at St. John's. I'm going to listen to this guy. He's been successful, and thank goodness I did. And obviously it has led to where I am today. And you don't realize it at the time, but the moments in time when you listen actively to certain people, it can really change the course of your career.
Right. I think when I think there's that level of respect that you have for that person and that mutual relationship and like, because you also probably, I bet you if we were to have him on this podcast, he'd probably say that you're probably a person that had an impact on him too. Vice versa, it happens,
sure.
right? Like, because there's going to be a lot of students that come through there.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a pretty powerful thing for someone to just pick you out and be like, "You should do this."
Yeah.
Like, you will be an anomaly in this world.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so another two-part question: What was your favorite college job?
My favorite college job was probably just doing the dishes for my roommates.
Sounds like a horrible job.
Honestly, I didn't have a job in college.
Oh, you didn't?
I focused on school, was not eligible to go work for the school itself, and I did not want to pull away from, my studies during that 4-year time frame because I wanted to get in and out in 4 years.
Did you do internships?
Internships during the summer.
So what'd you do there?
So that was back down in New Ulm. Interned for a public accounting firm, Carlson Highland, now Carlson SV. and did a lot of audits of farmers cooperatives and individual tax returns and that sort of thing.
What was your first gig out of college?
First gig out of college was going back to work for Carlson SV. So they offered me a full-time position. This is common and still is, where you get a full-time offer before you go back to school. So heading into senior year, I had a job locked up, which was awesome. And that's where I went to work for about 2 years. And then obviously I married a Benny. That's what us Johnnies do. We met our last month of college. Abby is my
Your last
wife.
month of college?
Last month of college, we met on the softball diamond.
Crazy.
And actually last Friday we celebrated 11 years of marriage. Time
congrats.
flies.
Yeah, that's really small.
But then she went to 2 years of grad school up at NDSU for athletic training to get her master's. And I was working at Carlson SV for that 2.5 year period.
Sweet.
Until she was done.
Yeah, sweet. And then where'd you jump to from there?
Yep. So then after she was done, I had a really good gig going into Ulm, and obviously I'm very well connected in that community. She couldn't find an athletic training job in the New Ulm Mankato area, so she found one at Ridgeview at the time in Chaska. And after she had been there for a few months, I said, all right, I like the New Ulm market, but there's a certain aspect of it when everybody knows everybody, no matter where you go.
Yeah.
There was a component of me that was always drawn to the Twin Cities and a bigger market. So I found Boulay by Google searching accounting firms in the Southwest Metro. Said I'm never going to live or work inside of the loop, the 694, 494 loop.
Right. Yep.
Boulay was just outside of that loop. So that was the box that it checked.
There.
And interviewed for audit and accounting advisory. There was a greater need in the time in the accounting advisory department. And thankfully, they made me an offer, and I accepted that in December of 2011 is when I started.
Jeez, you've been there that long, huh?
Long time.
That is a long time.
Yeah.
And I think that's so uncommon for I'm going to classify you a little bit as young. You're a little younger than me. But, I think, in people's 30s, I think there's that aspect of, 20s and 30s, jump around a little bit, get a feel for things, especially now, right?
Absolutely.
But I think that's admirable. But I think, that's one thing I think about the accounting / CPA culture is you got to put your time in and you got to grind and you'll get to where you're at now. And I think it's a huge testament to the time that you put into that. But I think that whole culture of I cannot imagine doing what you do in that 3 month period of time when taxes are being done. What a shitstorm.
It's it's changed. The profession is changing, I'd say, for the better, where that old school mentality where you are grinding all the time. And back then, I don't care what you have going on here, and you're going to work these hours and you're going to get this done.
Right. Yeah.
There's always going to be that aspect just from the sheer volume of stuff that we have to get through as a firm from an audit and tax perspective.
Yeah.
But it's shifting to where it's much more spread out throughout the summer months, more consistent. You're still going to have those peaks with a lot of bank deadlines for covenants being 120, 150, 180 days. And obviously the tax deadlines everyone's aware of. But we realize as a firm that in order for us to be successful, you can't continue to run people the way you used to 20 or 30 years ago. It's a different culture. Totally. And probably for the better.
Yeah. How much in the time that I'm going to go all over the place here. In the time that you started at Boulay, let's just use Boulay because it's a larger firm, to now, how much has technology changed the work that you do, specifically on the accounting side? And then let's predict the future a little bit, especially with the advent of AI being such a big deal. Where do you see that going?
Yeah, it's a great question. That's probably a whole separate podcast.
100%.
So I'll back up just a little bit. When I started at Carlson, so I graduated college 2009, our firm in New Ulm was transitioning from paperless to electronic files. Okay. So auditing on paper versus electronic, huge change, right? When I came to Boulay, they were doing that transition about the same time we were at Carlson. So they were done with that when I came to Boulay.
Yeah.
So all of our storage and everything was electronic. So I was doing reviews and compilations, some tax work. A lot of that tax stuff was all, Aaron, you're a tax client. You give me your W-2s and K-1s and all your different entities. and we were manually entering those into the tax software or manually potentially entering in trial balances for companies. Now there's OCR and AI that will do all of that for you, and you're in essence reviewing that. So there's that component of, I've been there, I've had to do it, manually enter it all in. Now we have to teach our younger people, how do you review that to make sure that it's accurate versus just, preparing it, and that's how you learn.
Yeah. So then I've been listening to a lot of AI podcasts. I've been listening to, we had an event on digital transformation. AI was a part of that. The people that I've listened to that are really educated in AI say in business, the area it's going to have the biggest effect on is finance. And I just don't even know what that means. Like, I can see it just, I think there's always got to be some type of human element, but it's just how are you going to, or even like CFOs of businesses, going to be able to utilize a software to be able to do all the work of a human being? Yeah,
I think, finance is a pretty broad term. Like, totally, what does that mean? We as a firm are embracing technology. Obviously, we have to, because that's the future. And with less people going to college, less people going into accounting, we have to offset that risk with investing in the technology so we can continue to grow and service the clients in a way that we have been.
Yeah.
So I think, what's going to be interesting now is how does it impact it? There's always going to be, I agree with you, and there's always going to be that human component.
Yep.
And it's probably interpreting or communicating what this information is telling us. And if you change it, what is that? Yeah. What impact does it have? Understanding scenarios. The risks, right?
Yeah.
Is the way that I see it now.
Yeah.
But I think we're still on the tip of the iceberg, if totally. You will. Yeah. And let's see where it heads. But I think it's an exciting time. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right, getting back to you. So you've been there for 12 years. And when did you get into the M&A side?
So I got asked to be on a few projects, probably 2 years into Boulay. We didn't have a formal transaction group at the time. It was just pulling kind of your rock stars or whoever wanted to help on these M&A projects over time. And me being the driven individual I am and wanting to try new things, I raised my hand. And from there, it led to more and more projects over time.
Yeah. And what about that really... Why were you drawn to that aspect of because I think the thing I've learned about mergers and acquisitions or transaction work, let's call it, is that it takes a certain kind of individual to understand the big picture and understand all the different players that are involved in it. When did it kind of click for you that this was the area you were gonna invest most of your time in? Probably
2 years into that, so maybe five years ago, where it really became an interest of mine. We hired 2 individuals to formalize our BTG, Boulay Transaction Group, valuation side of the practice. That brought some modeling skills and some formal reporting that changed, that brought us out of the archaic ways that we were doing it.
Yep.
And from there, that really has allowed us to just explode from a due diligence BTG perspective in the marketplace, and adding that value, because it's a different mindset.
Yeah, totally.
Being able to understand it and communicate and just help people get there.
That's your tagline.
It is our tagline. I had to squeeze it in there.
Yeah, you did.
And people are going to laugh at me that that I bleed orange is what they say.
Yeah. So, well, you should. You've been there forever. How many transactions do you get your hands into every year?
I would say,
personally.
Me personally, probably 40 a year. As a group, we're probably doing, it depends on the size, 40 to 60 a year. I see that number continuing to increase over time as we continue to find quality people in the marketplace or offshore.
Yeah. All right. Here's your chance. We're gonna. This is your commercial time. So I think. I know what Boulay does because you guys have supported Coalition9, and so I've educated myself. I think there's so many pockets of what you guys do that I say CPA firm, and that is literally just like wrong. That's wrong. Like, it is not all that you do. So talk about all the things that Boulay does and how you benefit or how you help your clients.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for the time, and thank you for having me on again,
for
Aaron.
sure, man.
Boulay, traditionally we've been around since 1934, so a long time. Traditionally, it's been an audit and tax practice. Over time, we've really embraced that entrepreneurial spirit. So now, when we think about the different service lines that we have, it's the traditional audit and tax, it's estate and trust. It's wealth management, having billions of assets under management now. That came from one person leaving the tax department to start this idea back in the late 90s.
Crazy.
A transaction group, an outsourcing group. So all of these things came from ideas within one person or a group of people that said, I really think there's an opportunity here. And it has allowed us to continue to grow. When you think about what clients do we service, it's really the life cycle. So we've had clients that have started in a garage that have turned into publicly traded companies. So we can service anywhere from startups to publicly traded companies. Really the sweet spot, there's got to be some complexity there for us, just from the cost benefit for the client for it to make sense. We're a top 100 firm in the country, and that's been all organic. A lot of the firms that have climbed that ladder have done a lot of acquisitions with other firms. We are climbing that ladder with the awesome people that we have at Boulay, which is now just big picture. We have over 40 partners, approaching 300 employees. We have 3 offices here in Minnesota, 1 in Naples, Florida for our snowbirds, and we have employees in 26 states.
Jeez.
So embracing that, pre-COVID, we had employees in maybe 1 or 2 states.
Yeah.
We're embracing that hybrid remote environment because it's allowing us to bring in quality people wherever they are.
Yeah. Good job, man. I love it. You crushed that.
Short and sweet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you did good, man. Okay. Let's talk about your family. So you alluded to you met in the last month. I didn't know that.
Abby the last month. And here's another Turbo, obviously. Yeah. On the softball diamond, I didn't know this. This was our first couple games, and there was a fall ball. Somehow, someone hit a fall ball in slow pitch softball. So you still don't understand how this happens, but it's going towards the parking lot, and she's like, "No, Turbo," and I'm like, "What? I'm right here. Like I'm on deck." She goes, "No, my car's name is Turbo." And I went, "No, like I'm Turbo."
Yeah, no, I'm the only Turbo.
That was one of the small, like, wow, like is there something here? And then at the bar that evening, she's like, "Hey, Turbo, how you doing?"
Yeah.
And I couldn't remember her name, Aaron.
Oh no.
But it ended up working out just fine.
Yeah. There's ways around that.
Yeah. Somehow.
Yeah.
Finagled my way.
Yours is easy to remember. So does she embrace the Turbo nickname as well and her friend group now that, or do they make fun of it or are they like all in on it? Or not?
So I would say her friend group, my friend group, everybody calls me Turbo. It just naturally happens. But her and I, it's Abby and Ryan.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. And then how about your kids? Do they go by Turbos at all in schools and friends?
We'll see. So our oldest is turns 5 on Friday.
That's right.
Colton, and then Jace is 2.
Yeah, that's right.
So they're getting into it, but I can see it. I see it. We had a baseball practice last night with my 5-year-old, and he is always outside playing some sort of sport, whether it's golf or hockey or baseball. He seems to have a lot of the same characteristics that my wife and I both have. My wife she's the real athlete in the house. She played college hockey. I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
So she's got some athletic driven abilities as well. So we'll see what happens with our kids.
An intense household.
Yeah.
Do you think, last question, then we'll get to 9 questions. Do you think one of your kids emulates you more than Abby and vice versa? Or are they an equal blend of both of you?
I think it's too early to tell.
Okay.
I think, there's certain days that I see bits and pieces of both of us. But let's see ask me that question again in 10 years when we're both sitting here doing this again.
Yeah, exactly. If we're still doing this in 10 years, I don't know. We got to evolve some things. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to listen to a few more of our community supporters, like Boulay, and then we're going to come back with 9 questions for Ryan. Ryan? For more than 20 years, Kaisa has been the trusted financial advisor for women, business owners, executives, and high net worth families, developing financial plans designed to meet them where they are and propel them to where they want to be. Their mission is to remove the worry and stress associated with financial planning and replace it with clarity and confidence. The Kaisa team takes the time to understand each client's unique situation, from financial concerns to the visions that they have for current and future generations, in order to create a truly customized plan. Through consistent communication and personal attentiveness, Kaisa is fiercely devoted to personal well-being and financial prosperity. Get to know the Kaisa team and how they can serve you at kaisawealth.com. Every year brings new challenges for Minnesota business leaders, and USI Insurance is here to take the pressure off of the employee benefits decision. Having a local presence with national resources, USI combines a client-centric culture with leading-edge technical resources so you can make an informed decision on your benefits investment. The USI team has been deeply committed to investing into our local communities and utilizes their expertise to provide solutions you can count on to protect your greatest asset, your employees. USI has been partnering with Twin Cities businesses for decades, and they would welcome the opportunity to do the same for you. Visit USI.com to learn how USI's approach to risk management and employee benefits delivers customized, actionable solutions with bottom-line impact. All right, everybody needs a bank. Not just any bank, a good community bank. From personal needs like checking and savings accounts to business services like financing and M&A support, the team at Flagship Bank is there to provide you with the assistance you need so you can spend less time thinking about your finances and more time enjoying what your money can do for you. To learn more, head over to Flagship Banks, that's flagshipbanks with an S.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Flagship Bank, investing in you. United Healthcare is dedicated to helping people live healthier lives and making the health system work better for everyone by simplifying the healthcare experience, meeting consumer health and wellness needs, and sustaining trusted relationships with care providers. UHC is continually focused on building a modern, high-performing health system via improved access, affordability, outcomes, and experiences. With a network of over 1.6 million physicians and healthcare professionals and over 6,000 hospitals, United Healthcare is dedicated to connecting employers and their employees to better health by offering quality benefits designed for affordability. For more information, visit United Healthcare at www.uhc.com. United Healthcare, helping people live healthier lives. In addition to the community supporters you heard from on the show today, I also want to give a quick shout out to our evolving level community supporters, Carlson Partners, Fluid Interiors, Keystone Group International, Modern Foundation, and Rev Advisory Group.
Read this book, but not a huge reader from a podcast perspective. Anything M&A, a lot of like tax structuring type things is what I'm interested in, which you're falling asleep as I'm telling you about it.
Well, so give me an example of a podcast that is focused on M&A.
Oh, there's I can't think of the individual's name right now with an institution. I can't think of it right now. Right. You're putting me on the spot.
I know.
I love it.
That was not one of the 9 questions, and I'm glad I threw a curveball at you.
Yeah.
What is one guilty pleasure that you indulge in?
Hot tamales. The candy.
I hate cinnamon shit.
I love hot tamales. So every Christmas, my mom would get me a 5-pound bag of hot tamales from Sam's Club. You know, so when we're at the gas station and my kids want to get something, do I get a small bag of hot tamales every once in a while? Absolutely.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I can't stand cinnamon.
I love cinnamon. Like cinnamon whiskey. Absolutely enjoy
Fireball?
that as well. I think I had that on the boat that day.
I think you did.
Yeah.
I think you had
Not
it,
Fireball.
Just as
Jack Daniels.
Just as last year,
better.
did you have some with Loeffler too on there? That's why you guys were getting all squirrely?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What is your favorite meal?
Oof. Oh man. I'm gonna go simple on this. I'm going back to the German heritage. So give me a really good beer brat with a homemade bun. Mm-hmm. Give me some homemade sauerkraut.
Yeah, I love it.
With some pork in there, some GPS, German potato salad.
I love it.
That is served hot. This stuff that's cold out, that's not German potato salad. And give me a little special on the side. Can't beat it. And mustard only on the brat.
Who's making this meal?
Well, my mom would have to make the sauerkraut and the German potato salad, and I can do everything else.
Yeah. All right. Sweet, good answer. I love all that stuff. Yeah. We just had brats the other day, and you know what? I stopped.
Do you boil your brats in beer before you grill them?
It depends on the time.
Always. Always do
I
it.
like to.
Yeah.
If time doesn't allow, I'll just buy beer brats.
Sure.
And it's
Still gotta boil them
They're
in beer.
good, but I think the beer that you use is a big deal too. Like I don't think light beer does as good of a job. I think the best beer to boil your brats in, and I am not a fan of this beer, Miller High Life.
Oh,
It just gives it a different flavor. That's just my opinion.
sure.
Right. So try some High Life. It's a champagne of beers.
It is the champagne of beers.
It is.
Yes.
Okay. Would you rather? I have 2 would you rather questions for you. No, just one. Would you rather give up deodorant or toothpaste?
Deodorant.
Yeah. Right. Who cares?
Actually, I think I'd rather give up toothpaste because I could offset the bad breath with gum. There.
I'm always chewing gum, but I do brush my teeth like 3 times.
Yeah, I think I'd go.
Really?
I'd go brushing teeth.
All right.
Can
I
offset
gotta
it
keep
with
track
gum.
of these. I ask that question occasionally, and everyone else says deodorant.
Yeah, but then do they think about it a little bit more, like the
I think
transaction
everybody
guy I
kinda,
am?
yeah. I think everybody kind of thinks
Critically
through it, and
think.
they're like, yeah, I'm good with that. Like I
Yeah.
don't really care what I smell like.
Sure.
Where you're just like, I'm going all in on gum.
Yeah.
All right. What is one thing that you have deep gratitude for right now?
The people that have supported me along the way, specifically my wife. I couldn't be where I am today without her supporting me in those long hours and just the challenging moments that we all have in our lives, and having that core group of people that you can go to. I am deeply grateful for that.
Sweet. If you could give a TED Talk on anything except something related to your career, what would it be?
This is a good one. Can it be something I'm passionate about?
I'm gonna
Absolutely.
shoot, like anything.
Okay.
Anything except related to your career.
I would say just educating the public on the impacts, the decisions that we make now when you talk about setting the outdoors up for success for future generations. The things that we can do now, such as like this Asian carp stuff, and what impacts that could have on the 10,000 lakes that we have if we don't do these things to mitigate them continuing to go up the river. Those are that sort of thing. The memories and going out and fishing and boating and all those things. That's Minnesota to me.
Yeah.
And we need to keep that intact.
Yeah. That's a great answer. I know you're a big outdoorsman. I just I didn't know you were that passionate about the advocacy of maintaining our natural environment. Yeah, cool, sweet. What is one thing that immediately brightens your day?
Giving feedback, unexpected feedback to one of my either coworkers or employees.
Seeing their
And
reaction?
seeing their reaction is just simply the best. And it can be little things. Someone at Boulay got recently engaged, and calling them out of the blue. I found it on Facebook. I didn't even hear about this. And I called them the next day. I said, congratulations. And they're like, wow, like,
Yeah.
thank you. Those little things like that. Or if I know a coworker is going to go out and celebrating an anniversary dinner with their wife at Fletcher's,
Yeah.
I'm going to call ahead and say, hey, do they have a reservation? If not, someone's going to be here at this time. Put a reservation. Here's my card, and I'm going to pay for their dinner. Those little things like that go a long way.
You're really good at that. Like, you are really good at that. That is that's a superpower of yours. What you did
thank you.
for
Thank
us,
you.
our family, when my dad passed
That
away.
was our group.
But you executed on it, and I don't doubt that there was some orchestration in that. But I think you're really, really good at that. That's you have a super high level of EQ, and I think being caught in the details, which you could probably, you're able to get in and out of that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you. What do you enjoy? This one is specifically for you. What do you enjoy spending money on?
Wow, this is an easy one, Aaron. I enjoy spending money on experiences with my family, with friends. Generally, that leads to hunting, fishing type things, but experiences. And as our kids get older, I don't care what the dollar amount is. If that's gonna create those memories for our family, I'm all in.
Yeah, sweet. All right, last one. How do you define success?
At this point in time, because it's going to change in my career, I would say how I define success is how others view me both now and based on who I am today and who I can be. And that can be, to me, success is not financial. To me, success is the power that I have giving back to people, educating people, to where I'm like, I'll use the analogy of I'm a tree. And if I can help people get there, back to that.
There you go,
If I can help 5 people in a day, those 5 people are going to remember me for the impact that I had helping, coach or mentor them, or helping them with a transaction type matter, helping them through that. They're going to remember me. That is what I care more about. So now I'm going down the path of legacy.
Yeah, right.
Remembering Ryan Turbes, and that legacy of who I am and what I stand for and doing things the right way, faith, family, all of those types of things is what I would say is success.
Yeah. All right. You did it.
Awesome.
You survived. Okay, so I want people to know how to get a hold of you. And so what is the best way you go crazy? And I will hot link everything in our show notes. Okay. So you fire away.
So I would say thank you again for having me on here, and it's been a pleasure. You may not agree, but that's okay. The best way to get a hold of me is just go to boulaygroup.com, and you'll find Ryan Turbes there listed in the partner section. My email is rturbes@boulaygroup.com. That's probably another easy way to get a hold of me. But if you just simply Google, you can't chat GPT this, by the way. I've tried.
Okay.
But you can Google Ryan Turbes, CPA, Boulay, and it'll get you there.
Yeah, sweet. Well, man, I got to tell you, I consider you a very good friend. And we text all the time and stuff like that. And just to have you on the show and share your story with people brought me joy. Mm-hmm. So thanks a lot for being on. Thanks for being an early supporter of. I remember I was driving to the cabin last week, and I remember the phone call that we had 4 years ago or whatever, talking about Coalition 9, and you saying, "Yep, I'm in. If Bame's in," is basically what you said. And
I think it was the other way around.
Actually, it was the other way around. Bame said, "I want to be in Turbo's group."
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I knew exactly where I was. I was in Deer River, Minnesota, and I stopped because that's where the last time I had cell phone service.
Yes.
And I remember we had that conversation, and it kind of gets me every time because that was like, you were the first. You're an OG, man. So that is a huge deal for me.
I'm very thankful to have met you and others along the way, and I'm very much a supporter of C9. And I know Boulay is a huge supporter of C9, and we want to continue to invest in you and all the great things that you do.
And we're doing it together. It's a community.
It is. It is a community.
All right. Well, on behalf of Turbo, this is the Men, the Power of 9 podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Eggert, and I want to thank you for the privilege of your time.
Thank you.